Since the 20th of June 2021, Blsp stock has had an extension of close to 100%. So moving on, we can see that it closed the session of the 26th of April 2021 at $0.0061, an extension of 17.31 from the previous close. 60 million stocks crossed the tape for that session. We have a position in Blsp. We need to point that out to you. And the current market cap is indicating a figure of $32.4 million. 5.306 billion shares are outstanding. And then we can go on and see that it seems the unbalanced volume indicator is slightly bullish. We're not exactly sure, but the histogram seems to be above zero and rising. But it also seems the 14-period slow stochastic oscillator is waning as well. MACD is above the signal line, obviously, because the stock is on the ascent. So moving down, we can see that Blsp appears to be in a strong bullish trend. Its 200-day moving average is upward sloping. The MACD histogram is above zero and rising. Comparative relative strength analysis shows it is lagging the S&P 500. Momentum for Blsp, as measured by a 14-period slow stochastic oscillator, is waning. This means that investors are less aggressive in their recent purchases and may even be taking profits in positions but at lower prices. It seems also, yes. The volume for that session was lighter than usual, trading roughly 60 million shares versus an average of 146.45 million shares per day during the last 12 months. The unbalanced volume indicator is bearish. Okay, we got that wrong. The slope of the indicator is negative and suggests that there is a lack of buying interest. And it has a historical volatility of 10 days. Sorry, a 10-day historical volatility that is 618.3%. So moving on, we can go ahead and see that for it, you can see that currently it is trading at, based on what we started with. We started from the baseline of the 20th of April 2021. So the price at that time was $0.03. So the reason why we did that, I think roughly from that point, it was not trading above any of those trend lines at all. It wasn't trading above even the long-term trend line. So we picked it up from there, and we can see that since that time it has now had an extension of close to, okay, just not up to 50%, a 38.2% Fibonacci extension. So even though it currently coincides numerically or ordinarily as a 100% extension, but it still falls at the 38.2% extension level. So what we were able to figure out that the standard deviation for the 10 days for Blsp, and it says here this is the range. This is the range. It's the range. It's normally the range that it's normally supposed to trade in on a regular session. So this means that of all the records for the last 10 days, 68% of all the closing prices fall between $0.00557 and $0.00751. So Blsp currently lies within that range. So even though it has been ascending, it has been extending for the last call it last 4 or 5 sessions, it is still very much within the 10-day one standard deviation of its 10-day trend line. So but it's still within there, closed at $0.0061. So it's still within that range. So but at the same time, we also have to point out that, look at that, this is actually the one standard deviation, 0.0055. So it has actually exceeded the one standard deviation. So but this is the range of that one standard deviation. So In as much as it still lies within that range, it has actually also exceeded that range. So the reason, amongst other things, he may still be lying within this range is because it has been retracing. It was just of recent, just the 20th, not even up to a week, that it's began to ascend. So that's why it is still lying within its 10-day, one standard deviation of its 10-day trend line, even though it has already surpassed the 10-day trend line in itself. So what it also indicates, amongst other things, that even though it has had this 100% extension since the 20th of April 2021, it is just indicating that it hasn't gone into the very risky territory. It hasn't gone beyond the one standard deviation. From if it goes beyond that, then it's getting risky. But I wouldn't say you should just look at this barometer alone as being enough for you to conclude that the bullish signal is not the bullish signal it is indicating it's going to remain there. It's actually indeed getting risky itself. It's you can see clearly above, way above its one standard absolute one standard deviation. So in as much as it has been able to sustain this bullish signal because of the fact that it retraced for a long time, then but at the same time it has run up to date. I mean, during this last session alone, it ran up an extension of 17.31%. So you really have to be careful, even though it's still not that risky as such. So we can now see what's going on here as well. For the 20-day, it's also not very far off from the 20-day trend line. You can see that this is the one standard deviation for the 20-day trend line, and this is the maximum of it. So this is the range 0.0051 to 0.005658. So it's much closer to the end of that 20-day trend line. So this is all you have to balance out and observe and see. So in as much as it's for the 10-day trend line, it doesn't seem to be that risky as such, but for the 20-day trend line, it's looking very much like it. So you really have to be careful. It has run up a huge amount of gains. Just observe and see how things pan out. The bullish signals are very much there, but if the bullish signals are there, what it indicates, amongst other things, is that maybe it is time for a retracement. Indeed, some market participants may consider the bullish signal as a time to jump in and buy more stock. And indeed, also you can also see it. It's a penny stock trading below a cent. So, but at the same time as well, it has run up a huge amount of gain in less than 1 week. We're looking at over 100%. So, I would just ignore all of those other bullish signals and just really be cautious. There could be a retracement coming very soon, so you really have to be careful. So if you're new to this channel, subscribe, like and share if you're really a subscriber. Thank you very much for watching this video.